Hey guys, this is Darren from Manhattan Physical Therapy, and we're talking about continuing training and getting prepared for our Tough Mudder race and our Spartan race. As you know, as we've outlined in previous videos, it involves a lot of pulling and a lot of grip strength. And today we're going to go over another pull variation with Brian and Hazira from Equinox. So Brian, Hazira, what do we have today?
Yeah, so we're going to be going into a little bit of a regression from the pull-up by bringing the bar a little bit lower to the ground, but then switching the body position so that now we're horizontal and not vertical, okay? So this is very similar if you've done a TRX row to a TRX row. Yeah. Very similar to that. So we're gonna have the bar here positioned. Now where you position the bar, the higher up you go, the easier it's gonna get. So the taller you're standing, the less force on your body and pulling it up. Right. So we're kind of at the midway point. We could even go a little bit lower and it's gonna get really hard and almost feel like a true pull-up, but we're at like a nice midway point here. You'll notice her feet, if you can see from the camera, are pressing into a yoga block, which is against a wall, because one thing on these is your feet can start sliding. Yep. Mm-hmm. And when you're doing an exercise, you don't want to be concerned about external variables that have nothing to do with the exercise. Yeah. So she's able to leverage through that. We're going to start into underhand grip, which just tends to be an easier, safer grip for most people. That overhand grip tends to be really taxing on people's forearms, but as a progression, I definitely want to get there. Yeah. So we're going to go underhand and we're going to bring that chest right up to that bar and focus on keeping that head back, Hazira, just like a deadlift, good. And then down, and then keeping the head back. It's really important on these that as you're pulling up, you're not letting that head float forward. Exactly. That's a compensation because they're hard. And exhale, yep, perfect, very nice.
So what is the cue that you tell them when they're pulling up? Where are they pulling the bar to, or what are they aiming for?
Yeah, so as you're rowing back, you wanna think about bringing that bar kind of almost to your sternum. Okay. Maybe even a little bit lower on that, right? Because we wanna get this whole mid-back firing up, and we don't wanna be using our traps and our neck muscles up at the top there. We want that mid-back to be working here, right? That's so good.
Aiming for the sternum as an aiming point. Now, how do you check to make sure that they're doing it correctly? What's the check?
I would say one thing big with that, and if you notice me kind of correcting a little bit on the form here, is in order to get further up on it, in order to pull all the way up, sometimes they'll compensate to do this to try to reach and get that full range. Stop when you feel that full engagement in the back. So even right there would be fine right there. That's gonna be hard. And pull up there. So pull up. And a couple inches from the bar, you can just use that chest as your marker, that mid-chest. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, good. If you don't mind, can we go over the overhand variation? You have it in
let's try the overhand. So the overhand, a lot of people are definitely gonna say that their forearms are like burning and lighting up on that overhand. It's gonna be a rough one. Now you can go, a lot of common question on these is, do I need my thumb around the bar or can I keep it open? You can keep it open. I wouldn't recommend it in a situation where you might knock your head. I would want that thumb around it. But if you feel safe here, Hazira, it looks like you're kind of gravitating towards the open hand, especially if you have little hands, right? Then it's gonna make it easier to get your grip around that bar. So let's see that, Hazira. Good, and still head back. You can look up towards the ceiling. That can kind of, the body follows the eyes, guys. That's important for literally any exercise. Squat, deadlift. There you go. Good. And where are you feeling on that, Hazira? Forearms. So just like we were explaining earlier, and we're talking about grip strength for these races and these competitions and climbing. So a lot of forearms on that overhand grip pull. So especially if you struggle with the overhand grip pull up, this could be a good regression to get you banging out, 10 plus reps.
Exactly. Gotcha. So underhand versus overhand, a lot more forearm added in with the overhand variation versus with the underhand, but still getting a lot of back work. And now, is it the same aim point like we talked about with the underhand variation, still aiming towards the sternum and mid-chest there? Yeah,
I want that bar coming to the middle. I mean, you'll notice a lot of people on any type of pulling or even pushing movement, they kind of float up here. And we don't want to be tapping into these traps. We want this middle part of that body to be working the most, and that's your powerhouse. That's the powerhouse, is those lats and that mid-back, and we don't want to tap into those neck muscles and traps.
So what key were you to give someone that you start to notice that as they're going on that they're starting to shrug it on up there? What key were you going to give them to help get them out of that place?
Yeah, so definitely want to think about pulling the shoulders down and back, okay? And not just pulling towards the bar. So you can pop up, Hazira. Good, head back, Hazira, good. And shoulders are down and back, yup, there you go, chest is out. Chest out can kind of help correct it. So if they pull their chest out inadvertently, it kind of forces their lats to kind of pull back and lock in. Yeah.
Gotcha. So the cue of down and back to make sure they're not shrugging it up and using another muscle group to accomplish the goal. Awesome. So now what are some some ways that we see people commonly go astray with this exercise?
Yeah, for sure. Do you wanna demonstrate some poor technique?
Back on the
Yeah, let's focus on really kind of jutting the head at the bar, Hazira. So kind of, sure, really kind of crane that head forward. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So this is going to be really common, and I see this on push-ups and rows alike, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really, you can relax, that's fine. I think they get the picture with that. So just kind of that head reaching forward, and it's because the lats don't have the strength to bring the body to the bar. So again, the body follows the eyes, so they think they're getting to the bar by bringing their head forward.
Visually, the bar is getting closer
Yeah,
to them.
exactly. But the actual body isn't moving.
Exactly.
So that's a really big one, really key. And also same thing with push-ups. If you're doing a push-up and you're reaching towards the ground, bring your body to the bar or to the floor.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
no rubbernecking.
Yeah.
We don't want any of that. We don't want any of that because as you notice, and as we've talked about in previous videos, this head forward, this here, we want to get out of those kind of positions and making sure that we're using the muscles of our upper back to pull us all the way through for this motion. It's like we've talked about also, intention with our exercise. We're trying to work out our back here while we're going to crank forward with our head, getting a little bit of rubbernecking and things of that nature. So making sure that we have that cue. And what was that cue that you would give them to then not lead forward with their head? What would you give them in helping them out to not do that? I know.
Do you
I'm
mind
so
saying
sorry.
that one more time?
One more time.
Yeah. All right, I'm a hand grip.
So we're gonna get into position for me. Yep. I want you to keep that head back, and I'll have them kind of keep that chin down. Press the back of your head into my hand. Good. So pulling that head back, and that's hard, right? It makes it harder already. I see you struggling a lot. So a regression of that might be just if you kind of scooch here, Hazira, and you want to just stand up. You can stand up, yeah. So to regress that forward, just so she's not like worried about hanging onto the bar, if you can just kind of push the back of your head into my hand, but keep your chin down a little bit. And we're just gonna shorten up these muscles here on the back of that neck. And we wanna feel, do you feel these tightening up a little bit? You wanna feel that engaging a little bit. You don't wanna, can you pop your head forward now? What I don't want, that.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about with that. We're all at our computers all day. We're all stretching those out. So kind of just pushing into the hand, chin down. The chin still stays down though. So that's where things can kind of go a little bit weird. And you can tell someone to bring their head back. And again, we were talking about how they kind of change the position. Stay there for me. And can you just kind of look up? That's not what we mean by head back either.
That's technically bringing their head back,
for
but
sure.
not in the way that it doesn't give us the intention that we're looking for.
Exactly. Good job. Thank you.
Awesome.